can see, the marchers have made their way around the walls of the old city and behind me, just through the Zion Gate, on their way to the Western Wall. They're all celebrating the independence of Israel. And we talked to David Nekrutman. He's the executive director of the Jewish Christian Center for Understanding and Cooperation. And he told us what he believes is the hand of God on the birth of Israel.
So a year after the establishment of the State of Israel, the chief rabbinate said, this is such a miraculous event. Remember, 2,000 years being divorced from your land, and like it says in Isaiah 66:8, a nation will be born in a day. Well, that's exactly what happened. We prayed and hoped for this. Now it's actually here. This is an extraordinary event that deserves praise, to the extent that we'll invoke Psalms 113 to 118. So 22 centuries later, from Hanukkah until now, we actually have a sacred holiday on the Jewish calendar. To me, the best answer to any atheist is explain the existence of the Jewish people. There's no logical reason in the world that we should be here today. It's only by God's unfailing love for his people, for his covenantal word. And this is my biggest proof, the State of Israel. If God is faithful to me, he's definitely faithful to you as a Christian.
Would you say many of the conditions that existed in 1948 still exist today when Israel is surrounded by enemies that want to destroy it?
Well, that's Psalm 118. For me, that's sort of like the basis, even though we're surrounded by all this. Death is always lurking over Israel. This is Psalm 91. Like, I can tell you this, when the rockets were going over Netanya, Psalm 91 came to mind. It's not the Iron Dome that protects us, it's the God Dome. It's his hand. There could be 10,000 arrows, 10,000 rockets. At the end of the day, there's this miracle that happens, that God's protection is over this land. We wake up in miracles every single day in this land. And just walking the land, you feel God's presence more than any other place in the world.
Well, the marchers are making their way around the Jewish quarter and just a few feet away from the Western Wall Plaza. We also talked to a man named Mr. Drybones. His real name is Yaakov Kirshen, and he's a world-famous cartoonist. In his studio, he explained to us why he calls his comic strip Drybones and what it has to do with the Bible.
When I came to Israel and decided I would start doing a cartoon, I thought, well, I needed a name, like Kirshen's Corner, with corner spelt with a K. And I kept thinking, what should it be? And then I realized that one of the things that had brought me to Israel was my reading of the book of Ezekiel. And in the book of Ezekiel, this guy Ezekiel, who lived 2,600 years ago, saw a vision of what to him was the far future. And that was of a time when it looked like the world had destroyed the Jewish people, but at that point we would come out of our graves, and the image he saw was of a valley filled with dry bones. And these bones came together, like the knee bone connected to the shin bone and all like that. And in that imagery, he saw the rebuilding of the Jewish state. He saw the coming together and the ingathering of the Jewish people. He saw the rebuilding of the cities and the planting of the trees. And therefore, if I was going to do a cartoon about what was happening today, all I could do would be to add to what he had seen incredibly 2,600 years ago. And so I decided to call it Dry Bones, thinking that everyone would understand.